They sent me the wrong...
Oh, there's a fish just jumped out of the water right there. Oh my god, it's a gator.
I think now may be the time to descend.
Welcome back to Canard Boulevard. It has been a stressful few days. So, as you saw in my recent video where we went to put in bay, I had an ignition system failure, almost got stranded, managed to get it working just by disconnecting and reconnecting some of those connectors in there, didn't know why, and I wasn't going to fly again until I had figured out why, because I don't like intermittent electrical failures. You never know when they're going to happen. I did spend some time this week putting the new ELT in the airplane. I don't know if that video is out yet or not. If it is, I'll link to it up here. And then I got to work on the ignition. I did a whole lot of testing. I took apart every connector, cleaned them with proper deoxit contact cleaner, put it all back together. I'm thinking, okay, whatever contact was bad, that will fix it. So I went out to do a test flight, pulled out the airplane, started it up, ignition was dead again. As soon as I shut off the magneto, engine quit. So the ignition had failed again. That's bad, and that's good. Bad because obviously it's still broken, but good because now it's not functioning, and while it's not functioning, I can do diagnostics on it to figure out why it's not functioning. If it's intermittent, it's really difficult to do that. So I pulled everything apart. I got the original manual from the original manufacturer, and it's almost 30 years old, so it's a relic. And I did a whole lot of diagnostics. What I found out is that the ignition advanced system is actually working correctly. It is reading the RPM, and it's reading ambient manifold air pressure, and it is adjusting the spark advance correctly, as it should. So that part of the system is working. However, it's not making any spark. So I can read what it thinks the spark advance should be, but when I put a timing light on it to test it, I got nothing because there was actually no spark occurring. So that pointed me towards the pickup, which is the crank sensor pickup on the back of the engine. It mounts where one of the magnetos would go, and it senses where the engine is in terms of position it's in, so it knows when to fire the spark plugs. I measured that, and I got nothing. Open circuit. And according to the manual, I should be reading about 800 ohms. So glaring red flag right there. That's a smoking gun. If the pickup's not working, it's never going to send a signal to the electronic ignition. And as a result, the electronic ignition will never fire, which is why the engine's not running on the electronic ignition. So I went home to do some research, dreading what I was going to find because it's kind of hard to find parts for 30-year-old ignition systems. However, the original manufacturer, Electro Air, did have parts. I talked to their expert. It was an older guy who actually knew this system, and he said, yep, from what you're telling me, the pickup is bad. I have one. We'll send it to you. Now, keep in mind, today is Friday. This was yesterday when I was talking to them. This is Thursday. I'm supposed to fly this airplane to Florida tomorrow to go get the condition inspection done. That's a whole nother story. We'll put that obviously as part of this video as well. But I just want to tell you how we got here. I actually went home on Thursday and did all the research, realized that they have one, but I also realized that there's two different sizes. There's a pickup that's 3/8 inch, and there's a pickup that's 1/2 inch. And I didn't know which one I had. So I drove all the way back out here to the airport just to measure it, and it was a 3/8 inch. Went back, called them up and said, okay, what I need is the 3/8 inch, and I said, it's their 005 unit, that's the one to mount into the MTH housing, the pickup. And he says, no problem, we'll overnight it to you, you'll have it tomorrow. So tomorrow, that's now today, Friday. 12 o'clock is usually when UPS shows up. 10 o'clock, I got a notification, hey, your package is out for delivery. I'm like, yes, everything's coming together. 40 minutes later, I get a notification from UPS. Sorry, yeah, we've had a problem. There's an exception. We'll deliver it tomorrow instead. I'm like, I'm ready to kill somebody at this point. So I called them. I've spent 2 hours on the phone with UPS today and finally figured out that what happened was somebody tossed it in the wrong box at the sorting station, and it got tossed into a future delivery box instead of a today delivery box. It never made it onto the truck. So I drove all the way out to the UPS depot. They found it for me, got it, gave me my package. So I'm like, okay, save the day. Got home, opened the package up. They sent me the wrong sensor. They sent me the 1/2-inch sensor. The paperwork and everything all says 3/8, but when I looked at the sensor itself, as soon as I opened it, I'm like, oh, that looks too big. And I measured it, and sure enough, they sent me the 1/2-inch. So I called them up, and I said, hey, listen, you sent me the wrong one. And I talked to the guy to send it, and he admitted, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's my mistake. They're overnighting me another one. That said, let me grab the sensor. Now here's the sensor that I just took off of mine. You can see this is the actual pickup here that goes into the housing where the trigger wheel is, and then there's this connector at the end here which it plugs into. I just actually pulled this out of the engine. The problem is that they don't have any more of these connectors. I said, you know what? I don't care. Just send it with bare wires on the end. I will I'll take the pins out of this and recrimp it onto the new one, and it'll be done. So he said, fine, okay, I'll send it out. So I'm not flying to Florida tomorrow morning, obviously, because my airplane won't run. I'm hoping that UPS actually delivers it tomorrow. They usually come around noon, so as soon as it shows up, I'm going to pack up the airplane tonight. I need to load all kinds of tools and stuff in here for the condition inspection, and as soon as that thing arrives, I will check to make sure it's the right one, and then I will drive out here, load my clothes and stuff in, put the new one in, do a run up, go up, do a quick test flight. If everything looks good, then I'm off to Florida. And here's hoping that the weather holds. The weather for Sunday is not as good. The weather tomorrow is perfect. So that's really why I want to get down there tomorrow. I could push it to Sunday, but I really don't want to because the weather is less than perfect. Monday is right out. Monday is when the inspection starts. So that's where we're at. Now I'm going to collect all the stuff from in the hangar that needs to go to Florida with me for the condition inspection, load it into the airplane, and I've already pulled this out. Well, for me, I've got hours and hours of work ahead of me, but for you, let's jump to tomorrow. It's Saturday. It's Saturday at 10 to 1, almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's been another stressful day. I have the part. However, it was a lot of work to get the part. I ended up being on the phone with UPS for 2 hours again this morning because, once again, their overnight guaranteed delivery didn't make the truck, ended up sitting at the depot. UPS sucks. Can I just say it? I'm sorry, Ben, but UPS sucks. All right, so I'm going to put this part on the plane, get it in there. I'm hoping I'll be airborne in an hour. We'll see what happens. It's installed. Let's test it. Clear prop. was starting on the electronic ignition. Mag was off, electronic ignition is fixed. We are a go. Gonna go cowl up, fuel up, and take off.
Alright, so I'm going to angle across because I got a right crosswind. Alright, down we go.
Traffic at Canard 587's 3 miles southeast of the field, 3000. Coming around south to join left downwind for 1. Medina.
Medina traffic, experimental Cozy 797 Delta Lima departing 09 will be a south departure. Alright, here we go. Static RPM is 2190. Brake release. Airspeed's alive. There's 30. There's 40. There's 50. There's 60. Pull pressure back, and up we go. Positive rate, we'll pitch for VX. Okay, that's good, now let's pitch for VY. And my CHTs are back up again.
Skyhawk 587's mile and a half south of the field. We got the traffic upwind on Niner. Could be coming around.
My CHTs are skyrocketing again, so obviously I still need to work on the timing. But now that the pickup is fixed, we can do that. Alright, I'm going to pitch over for a cruise climb.
Well, not too surprising, as I didn't actually adjust the timing in the EIS. All I did was replace the pickup, but I do manage to solve this issue later on in this video, so stay tuned.
It's November 797 Delta Lima.
Affirmative, 797 Delta Lima is an experimental Cozy near Richard Downing, 9,500. We'd like flight following to Foxtrot Hotel Bravo, please.
Or Niner 79er, correction, November 797 Delta Lima, squawk 3764, Parkersburg altimeter 3014.
3764 and 3014, 7 Delta Lima. About time.
5594, 9,000, climbing 13,000, direct westbound. 17,000.
Look at my trail mix bag is all swollen up because of the low pressure. We're at 9,500 feet. I did this once and had a bag of chips explode on me.
That was 1991. I was flying an Arrow at night and heard an explosion from behind me. Just about crap myself.
So it's a little disappointing that my CHT is back up, but I had a suspicion.
69571, safe flight conditions there.
I had a suspicion.
Roger, thanks.
I had a suspicion that's what was going to happen, because when I was measuring the timing settings when I had it apart earlier this week, the numbers I was seeing don't make sense. I talked with the manufacturer and he said, well, clearly the pickup is failed based on what the measurements you took. So my suggestion is to replace the pickup, fly it, see if that fixes it. If it doesn't, then go in and adjust the timing. So that's exactly what I'll do. And in order to adjust that, the whole cowl's got to come off, and I got to do that as part of the condition inspection anyway, so it actually works out well. I mean, in cruise, we're fine. 345 degrees is my hottest cylinder right now. So we'll fly all the way down to Florida, land, and then while I'm down there, I will make adjustments to...
504 Papa Sierra, contact Indy Center 119.52.
So I'll make adjustments...
52, 504 Papa Sierra, good day to you.
See ya.
So I'll make some adjustments to it while I'm down there. I'll do a quick test flight and just make sure it's all good. And then see how that works.
3 descending 16,000. 317 Indy Center, Roger, cross Clipper at maintain 14,000, the Columbus altimeter 3014.
And I didn't actually end up having to do this because it turns out that the A&P found the issue, and you'll see that later in this video.
And we got some pop-up storms happening. Getting a little close for comfort. And that's got to be maybe that starting up over there. This is why I wanted to get out earlier this morning. It's not an ideal time to fly in the hot summer day. You see a little bit of build-up ahead.
Convoy 4840, turn left heading 270.
Left turn 270, convoy 4840.
Majority of it is going to be on the coast east of us, but there is one cell that's developing near Columbia, South Carolina. That is right next to our route, so we may have to divert a little bit west. We'll see what happens as time goes on. We're about an hour and a half away from there, so things will change by the time we get there. Yeah, when we get down to Columbia, it looks like the clouds are right at 9,500, which is where we are. But again, that's an hour and a half from now, so we'll see what happens. It is a miracle having this kind of weather information in flight. We never had anything even remotely like this back when I first started flying, when we were using VORs and ADFs, tracking NDVs, and the weather you got was what you got on the ground, and unless you called up in the air and called up flight service and asked what was going on. It's been dead, calm, smooth, but I can feel just occasional little bit of instability now.
In about 3 miles now.
Which, if you look ahead, it looks like those clouds are pretty much at our altitude. So, and that's just as we're hitting the mountains. Alleghenies, well, we're in the Alleghenies now, but that's the big ridges there. We'll see what happens once we pass those.
563 car, no factor.
Roger.
I think I may climb another couple thousand feet because I am going to head directly into those clouds. They are right at my altitude.
And this was a good decision, as it turned out, as you'll see in just a few minutes.
So I just diverted us right a little bit, and we're gonna head over top of Greenville, and then we'll turn left towards Savannah, and that should get us around the convective activity that's popping up, because it's definitely growing, and we were just gonna be going right through the middle of it. that's no bueno. So this, as long as that doesn't change, we'll just keep an eye on it. But where we are, this should be good. One thing I love about the Garmin Pilot on here, because we're 11,500 feet, when we're a lot lower, your cell phone will work sporadically when you go over a city. Sometimes you can pick up a signal long enough that you can get a text through, but a lot of the time, you get nothing, but occasionally, so you can send text, and when you get over a city, it'll go through. But at this altitude, we're at 11,500 feet. We're way too high for any cell sites to pick us up. So instead, I have this Garmin InReach, and if you don't have, I mean, I've got a PLB as well, which is kind of like it's like a portable ELT. It's a satellite beacon that will bring the helicopters. This one also has an SOS button on here that if you push and hold the SOS button, it brings helicopters, and it works anywhere in the world. But you can also send and receive text messages through this, and the Garmin Pilot on my iPad here also communicates with this, so I can text back and forth on the inside Garmin Pilot on the iPad, and it actually sends it through my InReach, and it doesn't matter what altitude I'm at, it just works. If you are flying and you don't have an InReach, you should really get one. I'll put a link to this in the description below if you ever want to buy one. I've had this one for years. It works so good, and you can use it to track, and it'll leave breadcrumbs where you're going, and your friends and family can look at it and see where you are. And it works for hiking or biking or flying or boating or whatever. I use this thing for boats and hiking and all kinds of stuff. It's great. So little Garmin InReach, not inexpensive, but it's.
430 Papa Delta, got some cloud cover. It looks like about our altitude. We're gonna go down to 75.
November 430 Papa Delta, Roger, maintain VFR, altitude your discretion.
Where's that Papa Delta?
Not super cheap, but it's not bad. You do have to have a service that goes with it, and you can get different levels of service, but it's great. I use this all the time. And over here, you can see the build-up starting. That's what we would have been flying through, and you can see that's some vertical development right there. That's not what we want. That's not good. So instead, we're going this way, and you can see, well, actually, there is a tiny bit there, but hopefully we're going to pass that before it gets too much. If it starts getting up too much, then this is a scattered layer, then we will just descend through it and get below it. But I'm hoping that we're going to get past this before too much of this vertical development starts to happen and it gets too bumpy. O2 saturation down to 91%. I'm going to do my breathing where I take a breath in, hold it, take a breath out. Take a breath in, hold it, let the breath out, and that's gone up to 92. It's tough to keep your oxygen saturation up at these altitudes. And my snack bag here, trail mix, is blown way up. I'm surprised it hasn't exploded yet from the low pressure up here. Technically, I should be at 10,500 or 12,500 for the direction I'm going right now. But I don't want to go 1,000 down, because that'll put me right at the tops of these clouds and they'll get tossed around. And I don't want to go to 12.5 because I'm at only 90% oxygen saturation as it is. So I'm going to sit here at 11.5, and there's absolutely no traffic around me at this altitude, so it is what it is. We'll be here, and even though this is an eastbound altitude, I'm kind of westbound. I'm tracking 204. It is so beautiful here looking down at these mountains. Never get tired of the view.
I also never get tired of the view of skimming over and through clouds.
Wow, the wind up here is 65 knots from that direction.
Number 209 or 29er inland.
And I can actually feel, we're actually crabbing. Now that we have the clouds below us, I can actually see that I'm flying diagonally over the clouds. We're steering 228 and we're tracking 203.
Number 2.
I can see some of those clouds to the east of here. The vertical development is starting to get some clouds falling at the bottom as well. So those are storms on the way to being created. I was thinking that I might try to go under this layer up ahead, but seeing what's happening over to the east, I think I'll stay on top.
Yeah, I stayed on top for now, but it turns out that didn't work out for so long.
I decided I didn't want to be below this layer when it started, because over there you could see to the east, it's starting to fall out of the bottom where there's some vertical development. And because
408, copy the Atlanta Center 120.72.
I'm in the highest part of this mountain range, and I can see over there, there is only a few thousand feet between the top of that mountain and the bottom of the cloud deck. I don't want to be between the rising terrain of a mountain and the bottom of a cloud falling out. I believe this may be Grandfather Mountain here. I've flown over that before. And you can usually tell because it's the tallest mountain for miles around. And if it is, that means we don't have far to go before we're past the mountain range. You could definitely see some weather over there. You see that brownish build up there, and that for sure down in there. You don't want to go there. That's what we're going around. Once I get past this build up here, this little bit of this rain here, let's burn a little bit for cloud clearance.
Center American 2890 is descending through 26.4 for 240.
And then
2890 Atlanta Center, roger.
And then they're going to turn left to, because there's another build up that's turning in some rain over there. That rain off to our east is now behind us. That rain over there, we're going to pass off to it's going to pass off to the west of us. Alright, I think now the time to descend below this. I'm not sure how far it goes.
So it may keep climbing faster than I can, so I need to descend through a hole while I can.
So instead of trying to stay on top of this layer that was rising and rising and rising, I'm just going to sit below it. It means we're going to get bashed around a bit, but can't outclimb. I don't want to. I was at 13,500. I don't want to go any higher than that. No oxygen, so here we are. We're going to get down to 75 and see how that works out.
5551, how to rise in the climb. 5551, I haven't had complaints so far. I think maybe anything, if anything, nothing worth like that.
Alright, roger that. Thanks, Skyro 5551.
And we're at the end of the mountain range, so I no longer need the high altitude that I had before.
Nothing like wasting all that hard-gained altitude diving down below clouds so that you can fly along in the crap and be bashed around in turbulence. Not really good fun, and plus it's a lot harder to see the rain.
This is exactly why I wanted to leave early this morning. I wanted to get the part in yesterday, put it in, get the plane put together, and then leave at like 8 o'clock this morning and avoid all these afternoon buildups that I'm now dodging, because this sucks. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not a nice smooth ride, and I'm having to zigzag back and forth, dodging rain and buildups and crap.
Get to the 697, heading 070, GSP's off the left wing and 10 miles.
070 inside, procure 3697.
3697, clear for the visual approach, runway 4, contact tower 120.1, enjoy your stay.
All right, clear for the visual for 4 and over to tower, procure 3697. See ya!
See ya.
So I continued along at 5,500 feet, and then once the clouds started thinning out, I started climbing back up. I had to wind my way around a couple more build-ups, but then the clouds were gone, and it was smooth sailing the rest of the way, except for this one minor little problem that happened right now. My camera died. I don't know why, it just decided to shut off, and so I got none of the rest of this flight on video, and I did a fantastic landing, of course, that I didn't capture on video. Of course, the only time you do fantastic landings is when nobody's around to record it. In any case, the clouds went away, and as you can see on the map, I'm just tracking a straight line down to the coast now. I'm not having to zigzag around any kind of buildups. Once I got over Savannah, which got me past some restricted areas, I just turned direct towards Fernandina Beach, headed on down to Fernandina Beach, and then started descending like a bat out of hell, and turned to land on runway 09er at Fernandina Beach. And because I went out a day early on Saturday, that meant Sunday I had off because the inspection didn't start until Monday. So I went to the beach, had lunch at a nice seaside restaurant, and just spent some time editing videos because that takes forever. And then the inspection started on Monday. Lots and lots of work. I was there doing most of the inspection work on Monday and Tuesday, all day, both days. And as you can see, the airplane is torn apart. New brakes. One of the brake lining pads or brackets was worn beyond spec. Had to order a new one of those. The Canard has to come off. Everything gets inspected. Very, very detailed inspection. The engine, the AMP who supervised my inspection found that my magneto timing was out. It's supposed to be 25 degrees before top dead center, and mine was actually 32. And that is why my cylinder temperatures were so hot. The magneto was out of spec. Now, that magneto was only about 40 hours from overhaul anyway, so we retimed the magneto, and at the end of this year, when it comes up for overhaul, I will be getting it overhauled and then put that back on. But when I departed from Fernandina Beach, the cylinder temperatures were definitely down, so I know the overly advanced timing on that magneto were definitely a cause of that. So here you can see I've got the wheel pants off because we just finished putting the new brakes on. I did find that the fire extinguisher inside the cabin was completely empty. There was nothing in it, so that has to get replaced. Wednesday, I was going to fly home Wednesday, but the weather wasn't cooperating. Back home, it was just nonstop thunderstorms and rain and convective activity. So I decided, you know what, let's take another day off. And I went to the beach, and then I decided I'm going to go hiking and go see if I can find an alligator, because I've never seen an actual real alligator in the wild, and I hear there are some on Egan's Creek. So I decided to go hiking on Egan's Creek. I saw this very strange bird. I later found out it's called an enhenga, or a snake bird, because of the appearance of its neck. And it was sitting there drying its feathers because it had just gone fishing in the creek and had just caught something. Here's a little turtle getting some sun. Here's another one like that, but he's black, and he's up sitting on this dam, obviously fishing, looking for fish. Oh, there's a fish just jumped out of the water right there. Oh my God, it's a gator. It's an alligator. I finally saw a real alligator in the wild, and there's a turtle right next to him. I later got some images of that gator trying to eat that turtle, but it was unsuccessful. I guess the shell was too hard, and the turtle escaped. He's watching me. I think I'll just move away from here, because he's faster than I am. I'm nowhere near as close to this gator as it appears. My camera has a good telephoto lens. I'd say he's probably about 6 to 8 feet long. And this is about as close as I want to get to him. So because I ended up staying on the Wednesday that I was going to fly home, that meant Thursday and Friday, when I was supposed to be working, I had to stay in Florida to work. Fortunately, I brought my laptop with me so I could do that. The plan was then I was going to fly back on Saturday because the weather forecast for Saturday looked actually really nice, both here and at home. However, on Friday, I woke up, got ready to do my work, and just thought, I'm going to check out the weather for Saturday, and I had a look, and it was terrible. There was a massive tropical depression moving in, and it was moving in within a couple of hours. I realized that if I didn't go home right now, I'm going to be stuck here until at least Monday. So I very rapidly packed up everything and got myself over to the airport, got everything loaded into the airplane, did my pre-flight, and then headed off to the runway to take off and get the hell out of Florida. And it's lucky that I did, because as I was taking off, I could see the front of the front edge of that depression moving in, and I got ahead of it by maybe only about 45 minutes to an hour. So if I had looked any later, I would have been stuck. So I'm glad I did that. Of course, that meant I ended up having to work Friday night when I got home, and a little bit on Saturday to make up for the day that I missed on Friday. But hey, that's the price you pay for being flexible with your airplane.
Bernardino Beach traffic, experimental Cozy 797 Delta Lima departing 04, straight out departure. All right, 21, 60, 70, 80, 90. Airspeed's alive. We got 40. It's 50. There's 60. And 70. Nose back. And positive brake gear up. Alright, let's see if we can get above this layer.
Caution, obstacle.
Gear is up. So are CHTs. Bernardino traffic, experimental Cozy 797 Delta Lima departing to the north.
Yes, my CHTs were up, but not by much. Normally, on a climb out like this on a hot day, and it was about 84 degrees when I was flying out this day, I would be seeing 415, 420 degrees, and I would have to pull the power back on the climb in order to arrest that. This time, I had full power in. I left full power in all the way through the climb, and I was only getting up to about 402 degrees on my hottest cylinder. So the fact that I could leave full power in, I didn't have to pull power back to get my CHTs down, and that they were only just barely above 400 tells me that there was a significant amount of that CHT issue that was coming from the incorrectly timed magneto. So that thrilled me at this point. I'm really happy about that. There's a little bit more I'm going to do with the EIS, and we'll talk about that in a future video, but for now, I'm really happy with what the CHTs are showing me on the initial climb out, even on a hot, humid day like this. Now you can see the layer of scattered clouds here that I'm climbing above, and I'm having to aim just a little bit over to the right to get through a little notch there so that I can keep my cloud clearance. But as you can see, I am still climbing, and I'm going to climb fairly high so that I can get above all those clouds. As I'm climbing up through this layer, I do have to do a little bit of jockeying around just to stay clear of them, which you'll see here in just a moment. But for the most part, once I got past this little bit of clouds at the beginning, I didn't really hit much more until we started getting some afternoon heating later on in this flight, which you will see.
Jack's departure, experimental Cozy 797 Delta Lima VFR request.
0 November 34 Alpha Hotel, monitoring the frequency. Southwest 4197, contact Tower 18.3.
Over to Tower Southwest 4197, have a good one.
VFR flight following was 797 Delta Lima.
797 Delta Lima affirmative, off of Fernandina Beach, en route to 1 Gulf 5 via Savannah. Currently 4,000 for 9,500.
Thanks. What was your type one more time?
Experimental Cozy.
Cozy 797 Delta Lima, altimeter 3012. Maintain VFR at or below 5,500 for now for some overtaking traffic behind you, and reset transponder spot 3267.
3267 and at or below 5,500 for 7 Delta Lima.
Is it a 62 turn left direct to re?
Left direct to exit at 622.
November 797 Delta Lima, over to contact about 15 north of the Fernandina Beach Airport. The traffic that's behind you is about 8 in trail, about 40 knots faster, northbound to Sirius at 7.
7 Delta Bill, we've been looking.
Delta 2326, turn left heading 120.
Left turn 120, Delta 2326.
I can see that Cirrus coming up behind me on ADS-B, so I turn to the right to get out of his way so there's no conflict.
November 7 Delta Lima, contact Jack Center 126.75 and let them know you're looking for higher.
2675 or 7 Delta Lima, thanks.
Yep.
Jack's approach, experimental Cozy 797 Delta Lima, 4,700. We'd like 9,005 if possible.
Alright, 797 Delta Lima, out to your discretion, maintain VFR, Brunswick altimeter 3012.
3012, 7 Delta Lima, thanks.
So I'm off of Florida. You can see I've gotten above the cloud deck, and it's a scattered layer, so I can see down through it. There are holes, so if I needed to get down, I could. Not that there's a big problem, but there is quite a bit of rain in the area. As you can see, that tropical depression coming in from the southeast is just pushing up all kinds of rain, and that's what I'm trying to escape. You'll see a little red light flashing intermittently on the dash. That's my CAS warning, and that is because the EGT4 probe on my engine is flickering. It's intermittent, and it's showing just some crazy values. It's flickering in between 200 degrees Fahrenheit and 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit back and forth, and I just doing some crazy things. And of course, when it hits 2,000, the G3X EFIS flags it as a real problem and flashes that red light and beeps on my headset, which was really annoying to listen for 4 hours, so I definitely have to fix that. Now, as I'm getting closer, I can start pulling up the NEXRAD weather on the FISB, and I can see that there are now some storms or weather and rain, basically precip and afternoon thunderstorms starting to form at my destination, which is not ideal. Nothing in the meantime, and then you can see I put that little checklist up there because my iPad was overheating, so I needed to get it out of the sun. So that was just blocking the sun. So as I'm getting closer and closer to home, I'm seeing more and more convective activity popping up at home, and I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that it's not going to pop up right on top of my airport. As it turns out, there was weather to the west, weather to the east, and nothing in between, and I was able just to slot myself right in there and get home fine.
If I'd known I was coming today, if I had actually planned to come today, I would have left 2 hours earlier at least. But the plan was to fly home tomorrow.
Contact Cleveland approach 118.6.
So the plan originally was to go tomorrow, but when I woke up this morning and checked the weather, tomorrow is just a no-go. We got this tropical depression coming in, just rain and thunderstorms. I wouldn't have gotten out of Florida. So I looked at today. It's not perfect. There was weather coming in from the east in Florida. I had to hustle and get out of Florida, which I did. I got out before the weather came in, but because I didn't start as early as I would have planned. Otherwise, I didn't get off the ground until 9:30. And that means I'm going to be getting into Cleveland right at the height of afternoon convective activity. Now it was actually calling for later in the day, and I'm hoping that's still what's going to happen, but I'm seeing cells popping up around the area where I'm going, and I got an hour to go. So, well, I guess we're just going to wait and see. If I need to come down before Cleveland and wait something out, I'll do that. If I can wind my way around the cells and there's you know, it's acceptable weather and ceilings, then I'll do that. We'll just wait and see.
I love in this sped up video, you can see the clouds forming and moving, which you can't see when you're flying, obviously, because it's happening too slowly. But in the time-lapse video, it's really cool to watch how the clouds billow up and form like that.
So far, no pop-ups at our destination. We have some to the west, some to the east.
United 435, Indy Center, climb maintain, flight level 230, an area of moderate to heavy precipitation at your 11 to 12 o'clock. South 10 miles in diameter.
So to the west and east, about 20 to 30 miles, but no precip at our destination so far. We have a half hour to go, 85 miles.
And Delta 2200, contact Columbus approach 134.0.
Delta 2200, 134.0.
Now, this is the part where I really have to start thinking, does this cloud layer cover all the way home, or does it open up? Do I go down below it now, or do I wait? I decided, oh, I see ground, I see openings. I'm going down now, because if I wait, I might get stuck on top, and then I'd have to turn around, come all the way back to where those holes are in order to get below them.
Traffic experimental, Cozy 797, Delta Lima, left downwind 27, Medina, full stop. Alright, beam the numbers. Gear extension speed, gear down. Gear is down. Medina traffic experimental, Cozy 797, Delta Lima, left base 27, full stop, Medina. Too fast. Let's pull some speed out. I can get the speed brake out, and speed brake coming down. Speed brake is down. There's a good speed. Nice and stable. Medina traffic experimental, Cozy 797, Delta Lima, final 27, full stop, Medina.
$500.
Little gusty. Pull the power out. Get some speed scrubbed. A little bit of a slip there. We got a right crosswind. Now, you know what? It looks like that's going around. 797 Delta Lima is going around. I don't see the need to land with a 90-degree crosswind today. We're gonna land on 01.
So I'll explain what just happened here. Our airport here in Medina desperately needs an AWOS, which is Automated Weather Observation Station, and it continually broadcasts, among other things, the wind speed and direction, because our airport is frequently different than the surrounding airports. Akron was reporting winds from the west. That's why I decided to land to the west, because there's nobody else in the pattern, so I didn't know what anyone else was using. I thought, well, it's coming out of the west from Akron, that's why I'll land. But when I came in, I could see the windsock was directly to the south, showing a wind coming from the north. So instead of landing in a 90-degree crosswind, which is not great, I just went around, and I'm going to circle around and land to the north, on the north runway.
Medina traffic, experimental Cozy 797 Delta Lima is downwind for 01. Medina. Okay, gear down. And Medina traffic, experimental Cozy 797 Delta Lima turning left base 01, full stop Medina. Gear is down. Let's bring the brake down. 85 knots. And brake is down. Medina traffic, experimental Cozy 797 Delta Lima, final 01, full stop. Nice gentle turn on the final.
500.
Still pretty gusty. That's much better. No crab at all. The wind is favoring this runway right down, and even though all the other runways in the area are showing wind from the west, typical for this airport, there are power lines at the end, so we're going to try to miss those. Alright, we've got the runway made. Power out. Hey, that's all right. And of course now the wind is favoring 27. Look at that. This airport's incredible.
So that's the end of my trip to Florida. Successful trip. I flew down, I got to go to the beach, I got to go see some alligators and turtles, and of course the reason I went down there was the annual condition inspection on my airplane. Went very well, didn't cost too much. There was only a few minor issues that we found, all of them which were able to be fixed. So the airplane is in tip-top shape, and with the exception, of course, of the EGT-4 probe, which we saw flickering on the flight back, but I have a feeling I know where that problem is and I can fix that. We did have to dodge a bit of weather both on the way up and on the way back, but the weather gods did smile upon us and didn't put any convective activity directly in our path. Well, actually they did on the way down, but I was able to skirt around that, and overall the entire trip was a giant success. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comments section below. And of course, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out when you do that. And of course, that helps me pay for the fuel, which is what I am doing right now. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.